Bob's Breakfast.
Talking about wild weather, because we had that beast from the east storm, and you know, it's a shame that we don't always recognise an omen until a long time afterwards. I'm saying this because I survived a channel crossing from Jersey. It was awful. This was when I did the breakfast show on a radio station in Bournemouth. We did a promotion with Condor Ferries, and they flew us over to Jersey from Southampton. We did the breakfast show from a hotel the next morning, and we came back on the Condor Ferry, which was a jet cat. And it was a rough crossing. This jet cat was big, though. I mean, there's cars and trucks loaded on with a few hundred people, and it was fast. And I think it was the speed of it that made it even more uncomfortable, because nearly everyone was seasick. Yeah, it was terrifying. I remember looking at this little girl. She's about 8 years old. I turned away to look at something else for a second, and when I turned back, it looked like she'd exploded. She was just covered in sick. Yeah. You know, I think she'd thrown up while we were on the top of a wave, and the boat had dropped, and so the spew was suspended in mid-air for a second, and then it started to obey Newton's first law of motion when gravity kicked in and it landed on top of her. Yeah. I should have known it wasn't going to be a pleasant crossing, though, because of the omen I saw the day before. You see, Condor Ferries had a marketing campaign with the slogan about this jet cat called "I love my cat." Only the word love was the picture of a heart, like the old "I love New York" thing. And the day before, in St Helier, a car had gone past us with a Condor Ferries bumper sticker on and the slogan, "I heart my cat." But someone had coloured in the heart with black marker pen, so it looked more like a spade than a heart. So in effect it said, "I spade my cat." I thought it was funny at the time, but now I realise what was going on. Because on board that vomit comet, a lot of us nearly had kittens.
Bob's Breakfast.
Simon's on the phone. You want to talk about potholes?
Blasted everywhere they are.
Yeah.
So I live in Hitchin, near Walsworth Common. There's a few potholes there that they repaired last year and they opened up in the bad weather. However, the biggest criminal state of potholes I've ever seen in my life is not on a public highway, but it is accessed by the public, Stevenage Leisure Park, where the cinema is.
Oh, really?
So if you go in the back entrance of the leisure park, so not the front one where TGI Fridays and stuff is, but there's an entrance around the back. The potholes there, literally the left-hand side of the road is unusable for a stretch of about 30 yards.
So they're spectacular.
The entrance used to be awful. Oh, no, seriously, these things are, I reckon, a good few inches deep, and they span a patch of about 30 yards.
It's amazing. In Stevenage, is it British Aerospace or Airbus or one of them? They're developing a rover to travel on the surface of Mars, and they've built a replica of the surface of Mars for it to try. They should take it down to Stevenage Leisure Park. If it can handle that, it can handle anywhere.
That is actually in a building, in a shed behind the leisure park.
Well, they don't need it. They don't. So you know of it. You've been there, right?
I've seen the robot. It's brilliant.
Yeah. Well, they need to see how it. I reckon it might have trouble.
That's genius.
Do you reckon? What will it have more trouble with, Stevenage Leisure Park or the surface of Mars, in your opinion?
I think Stevenage Leisure Park would be worse than the surface of Mars. I've seen that simulated Mars surface. It's nothing compared to those potholes.
This situation with Russia's a bit tricky, isn't it? Theresa May, maybe you should just go over there and talk to Putin. Look out, though, if he offers you a cup of tea, just say no.
Bob's Breakfast.
We had a chance to look at the Mail online this morning.
What treasures does it behold?
There is a classic Daily Mail story. Blind psychic who predicted 9/11 terror attacks had a vision Vladimir Putin would become Lord of the World.
Lord of the World?
40 years ago. Yeah, this Bulgarian mystic, Baba Vanga, known as the Nostradamus of the Balkans.
Oh, yes, I've heard of Baba Vanga.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
In 1979, she told a writer that the Russian leader, Putin, who she'd never heard of at that stage, would become Lord of the World. She said, nobody can stop Russia. And, the Daily Mail goes on about, a few of her other predictions. Doesn't actually explain predicting 9/11. Doesn't say what she said, because a lot of these things you look at like Nostradamus' stuff is so vague.
Oh yeah, but that's what you have to do if you're predicting the future. Yeah, keep it vague, and you'll never be wrong.
So people can fill in the blanks. But this is the Daily Mail, right? It says she also claimed Europe as we know it would, quote, cease to exist by the end of 2016. She said that the continent would be turned into a wasteland almost entirely devoid of human life. Now, the Daily Mail's comment straight after that, priceless. Although not entirely accurate. So she said that Europe was going to become a wasteland almost entirely devoid of human life by 2016. The Daily Mail says, although not entirely accurate, Britain did vote to leave the European Union that year. So, at the end of an era, Ken Dodd has died.
At the age of 90, still doing shows that went on for hours and hours and hours.
Yeah. I remember that one time I spoke to him on the phone, I realized, because I didn't know how sharp he was. Because, his act was an act. He's one of those comedians where he has this larger than life, because he'd come from like the music halls, he'd spanned the music halls, the working men's clubs, the whole, right up to Royal Variety Show. I mean, he'd done it all. And I didn't know how much of it, because you've got funny people and you've got people who say funny stuff.
Yeah.
And I didn't know if he was a funny person or whether he was a person that said funny stuff. And I wondered whether it was, he had this act that he could learn and just do the act. But how sharp was he as a comedian? And I didn't know. And I found out he was lightning quick. He really was. Because I said to him, where do you come up with your jokes, Doddy? And he says, you something will pop into your head. You might be shaving. And he says, the trick is, though, you've got to write it down straight away because you'll forget it. I says, all right. He says, I usually write stuff on my hands. I said, right. He says, they're all doing it now, He said, I shook hands with a fella the other day, got a wonderful script. And that came from nowhere.
Yeah.
Housemates from Hell. We're talking about this because of the story you brought us, Chris, about this. It finds flatmates and housemates for people.
Yeah, based on their DNA. This is a Swiss test, and they reckon combined with this DNA test and an online personality test, they can find you your ideal housemate or roommate.
So when have you had a housemate from hell? Badger.
I was living with a partner, and she was fanatical cleaner and things like that, which was a bit of a nightmare. But I mean, one time I was eating my food, and I put my knife and fork down, and I was just leaning across. I think I was grabbing a newspaper or something. By the time I'd come back, she'd taken the plate out to the kitchen and was cleaning it. I'd never finished eating. But she kept using all these kitchen rolls to clean. I said, get some of those dishcloth things, yeah? So we was in the supermarket, we bought a pack of 15 dishcloths and that. A couple of days later, she said, I'm going to need some more of those dishcloths. I thought, what? She was just wiping something once and throwing it in the bin.
Right.
Yeah? And then she said to me, look at the freezer. She said, I've saved a load of space. She said, see all those frozen meals? Look, I've got the whole lot in there because I took them out of the packaging and they fit a lot better if you haven't got the packaging. I said, yeah, you're right, they do fit a lot better. I picked up a meal at random. I said, what is it, and how long does it take to cook?
So you had no information at all on what was in there? Nothing?
I didn't even see it because it was frozen. I just thought, what is it, and how long does it take to cook? Yeah, all right, bye.
Good morning, Roxanne. How are you going?
Well, I hate to say it, but until today, I didn't actually know who Ken Dodd was.
How old
you
are you?
must think I'm really...
No, how old are you?
27.
27?
27.
You didn't know who Ken Dodd was?
No. I knew I'd heard the name, but I've never seen anything with him in it. Never heard his songs, nothing like that. So...
Okay, well, it shows that
probably a bit before my time.
Well, yeah, his heyday was probably the 70s, maybe the 80s, but he was going in the 60s. His career went all the way pretty much from, like, music hall through the northern clubs all the way up to the Royal Variety Performance. He's...
Oh, wow.
Yeah, no, he's... As far as... his act is not for everyone, though. It was to be unfair, it was an old style act, but it was a vintage act. Actually, it was a vintage act more than an old act. Ken Dodd was a funny guy. In fact, I'll play some clips of Ken Dodd's act a little bit later on so you can get into that. But I tell you what, I'll give you a joke that I'm sure Ken Dodd would appreciate you using now that he's died. Okay?
All right.
When someone... You say to someone, just say to him, Ken Dodd died. And if they go, did he? Go, no, Doddy. Okay?
Okay.
There's a free one from me.
I think I'll try that one on my mum.
Okay, well, try it on me now. See if you can do it.
Oh, okay. Oh, I've forgotten already.
You've got to start with Ken Dodd died. So, okay, here we go. So, I'm your mum. Hey, Roxanne, how are you? What's new?
Ken Dodd died.
Did he?
No, Doddy.
Bob's Breakfast.
Good morning, I'm Graham Mack, and Chris brought us a story this morning. Number one reason people move house, nightmare neighbours. Tell me about your nightmare neighbours, Steve.
We had some students live next door to us when they first turned Hatfield into a university town.
Yeah.
And there was about 10 of them in there.
Yeah.
My daughter was studying for her exams and they were blasting music out at sort of 3 a.m. And I was very polite. I went around, knocked on the door and asked them to turn it down. They did for about 5 minutes and then blasted it out.
Yeah.
So that was on a Saturday. On the Sunday, I went down and borrowed my dad's Mario Lanza records. Right. And they're all on tape, and I've just put it on repeat and turned it up, and we went out for the day. We never heard any noise from them again.
So you were playing Mario Lanza in the early morning when you knew they'd be asleep?
Yes, they were recovering, obviously. 9 o'clock, I'll give them something to wake up to.
Thanks a lot, Steve.
All right, mate.
Bob's Breakfast.
Special guest this morning is Kim Wilde. The new album is out. It's called Here Come the Aliens. And Kim, this is the first album of new stuff you've had out for 20 years?
Well, you know what? I have recorded a few albums over in Germany, of which I'm really proud. So there's a few that came out sort of in the mid 2000s and somethings. And, I work a lot from out of Germany, and I ended up having a big hit over there with Nena of 99 Red Balloons fame, which actually went to #1 virtually all over Europe. So I did do more recording over there. It's sort of in the same vein as Here Come the Aliens, really. Yeah. But just not quite as accomplished as this album. This album's been a lot longer in the making. It started in 2014. I wrote 1969, several years after the UFO sighting. So I wrote it in 2014, and we've been writing ever since 2014 till just recently when we put the album together.
Right, because the last one we probably know you for is the Christmas one. The
last one would be the Christmas one, yeah.
Yeah, was it 2014? Is that the year right then?
I think it was. Ooh,
yeah, because it was after the. Well, yeah. It was a couple of years after you'd been filmed on the train.
That's the one. That's the one. That inspired me to get my act together and celebrate Christmas in a slightly altogether more respectable way.
You would tell us about that. Now, this is 2012. somebody videos you on the train singing, you become a YouTube sensation. I think it's over 2.5 million hits now.
Yep.
So you were you were leaving a party. You were with Ricky.
Yeah.
Why did Ricky have a guitar with him?
Because we were asked to go and sing at their Christmas party.
Right, I see.
And so we thought, we'll get a train. We took the guitar. What could possibly go wrong? And then we did the party, and there were free cocktails flying around, and then I nicked somebody's antlers, and then we ended up at King's Cross. I don't remember much after that. I do remember, I don't even know how we got on the train.
So this is the train from King's Cross to Nebworth, is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then Rick was about to put his guitar away, and I said, "Come on, Rick, it's Christmas." And I remember him looking at me saying, "Are you sure?" And I said, "Come on." I said, "When are we ever going to be out on the lash and have a guitar with us and it be Christmas?" I said, "Come on, the stars have lined up. The planets have lined up where it's meant to be." So out he gets his guitar. We start singing these songs. In my sort of over-refreshed state, I just assumed everyone would join in.
It took a little while to get them going, didn't it? There was
anyone joined in.
At one stage, there's a lady going, "It's actually her." Yeah. See, up until then, they just thought it was some woman on a train, a crazy lady on a train, and then no, it's Kim Wilde singing "Kids in America." It's not, and then you did
Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree.
Rockin' Around Christmas Tree, which is the one you'd done with Mel Smith for Comic Relief.
It got filmed by this really sweet lady and called Casey Eames, and we actually got to know her after, and she was very sweet and phoned us up and said, "Do you mind if I put this on YouTube?"
Oh, that's nice.
So, but I think she's done quite well out of it.
Has she?
I think she has. And then we did a new version of Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree for my Christmas album, Wilde Winter Songbook, and we invited her onto our video. So,
oh, lovely!
So she turned up on our video, and we were filming her, filming us. So it was quite fun. It's a nice little twist there. But yeah. Actually, right after the sort of drunken episode, when Ricky and I decided that sitting down was a better idea than falling over, we met this gorgeous family who were coming back from Winter Wonderland, and we ended up singing Little Donkey with the kids. And we did try 12 Days of Christmas, but then we got really confused after about 11.
Right, okay. Yeah.
You want to try. I mean, it's a confusing song to sing when you're sober, when you're over refreshed. The 12 Days of Christmas is very, very tricky.
Now, do you still drink?
I don't.
Is it because of that incident?
Maybe partly. I mean, I'm not sure. I've been thinking about stopping drinking for a long time. All the coolest people in rock and roll don't drink. Mm-hmm. I did a tour with Alice Cooper. He didn't drink. He's cool. And a lot of the rockers have had to stop their drinking ways.
Yeah.
And and I was I like to have a drink, but I did have to think about maybe carrying on like getting drunk sometimes isn't such a good idea.
Was there a particular incident or anything like that? I asked that question because I don't drink anymore. I packed, 1998, and it was because I was just doing breakfast radio, and there was a day I needed to get more work done, and so instead of having a sleep in the day, I didn't have a sleep, so I didn't have a drink because I'd have a drink with lunch.
Yeah.
And then I stopped, and I thought, wow, I got loads done today, and then I thought, oh, I can't remember the last time I went a day without a drink, so I'll see if I can go a week. And I did a week and felt great. And but whenever you tell someone you don't drink, they all think, oh, there must have been an incident.
No. Well, what happened was I did Stoptober.
Did you?
And I felt really good.
This last
great.
October just gone?
Last October gone.
It's weird how great you feel, isn't it? And how you can just do more stuff, and you've got more time to do stuff, and you feel good all day. And
exactly. Yeah. So I did that, felt great, physically felt a lot better, and dropped some weight.
Right, yeah.
Don't mind that. And I thought, you know what? This is really good. I'll keep it. I know I'll have a few drinks at Christmas, and I'll really enjoy those. And then I got to Christmas, and I really wasn't in the mood for it. And some of my drinking buddies said, "Oh, you're so boring, Kim. You're so boring." And actually, there's nothing boring about this at all. It's just the best I've felt, and I've got so much done. And certainly, when I knew the tour was coming, I thought it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
And I feel so much better. If anyone's thinking about it out there, do it. It's so cool.
Yeah, and as you said, a lot of cool people. People like Frank Skinner, and just not just rock and rollers, but really cool people.
People who want to get stuff done.
Yeah.
Drinking doesn't help. it's people who want to get stuff done.
Yeah.
I got a lot of stuff I want to get done.
Bob's Breakfast.
This news from the world of sport. Because of the current political standoff between Britain and Russia, the England football team may boycott the World Cup in Russia. Experts say if this happens, the chances of them winning the tournament will be about the same as if they play.
106 Bob FM.
Chris Hubbard has your news.
Now, we've all got different palates, but it might be tough to find any diner willing to sort of brave some of the dishes that different people have been trying, who have revealed some of the more interesting items on Twitter. Different people have been talking about this. One user, Nicole Cliff, asked her followers about the most disgusting things they'd ever eaten. And you can imagine, might have been inundated with stomach-churning replies. Some admitted to eating food that was long since its sell-by date, such as smelly chicken or mouldy mac and cheese. It just doesn't sound nice.
They would go ahead and eat that. I mean,
they would
it's
go
just
ahead and eat it.
so dangerous.
Chance their luck with it. Well, it is. Absolutely. Others have said that they accidentally ate things that had never been fit for consumption as well. It's just revolting. I mean, some of the things that people will put in their mouths and swallow is just... somebody saying that they found... accidentally swallowed some cigarette ends floating in the dregs of a can.
How did that happen? Oh, somebody was using the can as an ashtray.
Yeah.
Somebody grabbed the can, had a swig.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, cigarette ends.
There it goes.
Okay.
Yeah. Somebody else on this thread admitted to eating their pet's mess by mistake. Now, how do you do that? How do you eat this by mistake?
What did you think it was?
Exactly. I mean, you'd have to have your eyes closed, wouldn't you? Somebody said, and this is kind of how it happened. One person said they had a puppy, they were in the house, near the fireplace. It was dark. I dropped my chocolate. What I picked up and put in my mouth was not chocolate. I'll leave the rest to the imagination.
Now, I'm going to ask the question this morning. What is the strangest thing you've ever eaten? 01438 422 106. Now, I'm reluctant to ask this question because I asked this question many years ago on a radio station called TFM in the Northeast. And this is the call I got. What's the most unusual thing you've ever eaten, Anthea?
I've eaten a human being.
Oh my goodness. Right, all bets are off. You can't beat that. How come you were a cannibal?
Well, it was when I was a child. We lived in Africa, and we always went to the same butcher, and then suddenly, we were there a couple of years, the meat started getting so much better, and it was only when we moved back to England a couple of years later that we realised the butcher had been arrested. He was killing little black girls and selling the meat.
So you ate children?
We ate children. We didn't know at the time. It was, according to my mum, it was very delicious. Not very nice, is it?
So what did you think it was? You thought it was beef?
My mum said, yeah, she was just buying mince.
You ate little girls?
Little girls for about 2 years.
Wow. All right. Thanks very much.
Hey.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Bob's Breakfast.
Weird things you've eaten, Darren.
Right, Graham. Well, apparently when I was younger, I used to eat pencils.
Yeah.
My memory of it is a bit sketchy, to be fair.
Oh!
106 Bob FM.
Have you ever thought about how amazing trees are? I know you're going to think I've lost my mind, but I'm starting to get the feeling that spending time with trees might be the key to greatness. Percy Shaw is the man who invented cat's eyes, the reflectors you see at night in the road that must have saved countless lives. On YouTube, I watched a documentary about Percy from 1968. At one point, they show his factory in Halifax. Sticking out of a hole in the roof, you see the top branches of a tree. The factory was built around the tree. Alan Wicker's narration explains.
Sentimental as any no-nonsense Yorkshireman, he made sure when he was boss that the woodman spared the sycamore he climbed as a child.
Percy's sycamore is not the only tree that was important to historical pioneers. The orchard at Woolsthorpe Manor in Lincolnshire has a special apple tree. In 1666, an apple fell from it and made Isaac Newton ask the question, why do apples always fall straight down? That apple tree gave Newton the inspiration for his work and helped him become one of the most influential scientists of all time. Without Newton's work on gravity and his laws of motion, we'd never have been able to fly to the moon. And Newton's apple tree is not the only tree that plays a part in man's conquest of space. Robert Goddard was an American engineer, professor, physicist, and inventor. He built the world's first liquid-fueled rocket. With his team, he launched 34 rockets between 1926 and 1941. NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center is named after him. He grew up in Boston, and at the age of 17, on October the 19th, 1899, he climbed a cherry tree. He was transfixed by the sky. Later he wrote, "On this day I climbed a tall cherry tree at the back of the barn, and as I looked towards the fields at the east, I imagined how wonderful it would be to make some device which had the possibility of ascending to Mars." For the rest of his life, Goddard called October the 19th Anniversary Day. He moved his rocket testing equipment to New Mexico and would go back to Boston and visit the cherry tree. He wrote about it in his journal. October the 19th, 1927, got rocket weighed and ready in the afternoon. Stopped at cherry tree at 6 p.m. October the 19th, 1928, took out trailer to the farm with sacks. Went out to cherry tree. October the 19th, 1932, worked on flow patterns in the afternoon. Went to cherry tree. Anniversary Day. In the autumn of 1938, Goddard got a letter from a friend in Massachusetts telling him that the cherry tree had been uprooted in a nor'easter. In his journal that night he wrote, "Cherry tree down. Have to carry on alone." Percy Shaw, Newton and Goddard's connection to trees got me thinking about how important trees might be. Buddha reached enlightenment as he sat and meditated under a tree. Why do we decorate a tree at Christmas? Do trees have a connection to the universe? They're directly connected to the earth through their roots. They interact with the atmosphere through their branches, and their leaves absorb energy from the sun that's travelled millions of miles through space. Do trees communicate with the universe? If you spend time with them, is inspiration one of their fruits? Does spending time with trees bring good luck? Well, it would explain why we say, touch wood.
Bob's Breakfast.
This morning we've been talking about weird things you've eaten. Mick.
Yeah, I've just heard you say about that bloke eating pencils. I used to eat pencils when I was a kid.
Did you?
I used to go through probably about one a week, and the teacher's always saying to me, "Get a pencil out your mouth, get a pencil out your mouth." And we did this project at school, and the whole class got involved. And at the end, the teacher gave out all these penny chews, like blackjacks and fruit salads. And everyone had about 4 of them each, and she gave me 2 pencils.
Could be dangerous, though. I mean, you may have to see the doctor. Of course, the first thing the doctor's going to say is, "You've been eating pencils, have you?" "Oh, well, sit down, write your name."
106 Bob FM.
Very uncertain future for Ant Dec. Bonzi's on the phone.
Didn't you mean PJ and Drunken?
Hey! It's a great story you brought us earlier about the kid left behind.
Yeah, not very happy at all, I don't think. I think the kid was only about 14.
School trip to London from Newcastle upon Tyne. They head back on the train. He's not on the train, left behind at King's Cross.
Yeah.
Jeez, what's your left behind story? Karen?
My daughter got left behind.
Where?
In the hospital car park.
How old was she?
About 3-4 weeks old.
And who left her behind?
Her dad.
Tell me the story.
I had an appointment at the hospital.
Yes.
And I had got 2 girls at this time. One was 2. Baby girl was, I say, 3-4 weeks old. Got to the hospital, so he dropped me and the eldest daughter off and then went off to park.
Yeah.
And then when he got to the clinic we was in, he came round, sat down. Nothing, didn't have the baby. We knew a couple of people that worked at the hospital. My instinct was, maybe she's been having a cuddle with someone.
Mm-hmm.
And then after, it seemed about a minute, I said, where's the baby? And he's like, yeah, I'll be back in a minute.
Oh, what an idiot.
And and the car was, because, the door was unlocked. She was, luckily enough, she was still in the car fast asleep.
Oh. Do you ever let him forget it?
Did I mention he's now my ex-husband?
How about that?
What do you reckon one of the biggest sources of food waste are in this country?
Food waste?
Yeah, the amount of stuff that we throw away.
Vegetables.
You're not far off, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Salad that's given away with takeaway curries and kebabs.
Yeah.
They're one of our biggest sources of food waste. 99% of the salad is thrown away.
Finally, people are, we call it, when you get a takeaway, we call it the sacrificial salad. Because it's in a little bag all on its own, and you just put it straight in the bin.
The reason you order one of those takeaways is because you want the flavour.
Yes, that's right. You want the king prawn tikka masala. You don't want the sacrificial salad. I don't know what it's, and it'll often come with like dips and things look like toothpaste, and that goes as well straight in the bin. Oh, yeah.
I love the toothpaste dip.
Do you?
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't like anything with any dip. Make the thing taste decent in the first place. I don't want to have to dip it in something to make it taste all right. I want it to taste all right first off.
Well, they reckon a lot of the time, because the lettuce is maybe a bit limp and a bit stringy, the cucumber isn't as crisp as it could be, and it comes in a bit of a flimsy, horrible plastic bag.
And you never ordered it.
No.
You never ordered it. There is something in this country, there is something like the salad obsessed. They are pushing salad on us. And, this is the one that annoys me the most. If I order a tuna sandwich, or I buy a tuna sandwich from a garage, I'll bite into it, and there's like lettuce or cress or something in there. I'm sorry, that's a tuna salad sandwich. I just ordered tuna. Stop vandalising my food with your green garbage. And anyway, salad tastes of nothing. You might as well put lawn clippings on there. Imagine if someone put lawn clippings in any of your meals, you'd be like, what are you doing? Who's done this? It's vandalism of food.
Do you reckon they just put it in there to make us psychologically feel better then?
I take it personally. I take it as a personal insult that someone has insulted my food. And I'll tell you, next time I'm taking it back. I'm going, hey, what's this? Oh, that's your salad. I didn't order that. Tuna sandwich. Look, tuna. Not tuna and lettuce. Not tuna and cress.
And that bag from the takeaway.
The bag from the takeaway.
Straight back on the counter.
What's this? I never ordered this. This must be somebody else's. I never ordered sacrificial salad.
Well, they reckon 94% of the salads are put straight in the bin after delivery. 1%'s put in the fridge.
94%. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Goes in the fridge. Yeah. For what?
And
3
then
days?
Thrown away.
3 days.
Yes.
3 days.
Eats it.
Yes.
But 6% of people do actually just leave it in the shop. They say, we don't want that, or give it back to the delivery driver.
Oh, you can do that?
Well, seemingly people are doing this.
Morning, Bonzi.
Right. Thrown away food, wasted food.
Yes.
Now I know you can give it back to the driver. I will.
I didn't know that. He was saying...
Well, I'll just say, that's a tip, mate. Yeah, it's a tip of the iceberg.
Ah! Oh, no! No! The tip of the iceberg! Oh, dear! Oh,
That'll do.
Dear!
Hello.
106 BOBfm.
Ah, the French rude. It's this waiter in, what is it, Vancouver?
Yeah, this was in Vancouver, over in Canada.
He's been fired for being rude. He says, I'm not rude, I'm French.
Yeah, this is his defence. He says there's a cultural misunderstanding here. And it's not rudeness, really. It's just the way we are.
Are the French rude? Julie?
You say the French are rude.
No, wait a second. I'm not saying the French are rude. A French waiter is saying the French are rude, and he's been fired from his job in Canada for being rude, and he's saying, I can't help it, we're French. Stop being so culturally insensitive. So I just want to make it clear, I'm not saying the French are rude. Okay. I just like to know from your experience, what have you found?
Okay. Well, I had to go up to London yesterday for a hospital appointment, and I actually found it was mostly the English people that were so rude, pushing, shoving, just trying to get to where they needed to be super fast.
Yes.
And in fact, on the train, on the way back, it was so packed, and there were people tutting and swearing, and it was actually the foreign people that were so polite. Would you like to sit down? Would you like to get off before me? So I actually think it was the English yesterday that were extremely rude.
So do you think the idea that the French are rude has come from the fact that English people have visited France, they've been obnoxious, and of course the French have been rude to obnoxious people, and we've blamed the French?
Quite possibly.
Okay, thanks a lot, Julie. Darren's on the phone. What can I do for you, Darren?
Oh, yeah, I just thought while you was on the subject of France, I'll give you a did you know.
Okay.
Yeah, did you know that the very first beach footwear was invented by a Frenchman?
Really?
Yeah, called Philippe Fallope.
Get off!
Bob's Breakfast.
Hi, I'm Graham Mack. Thanks for listening to the podcast. If you like it, put a link to it on Twitter or a like on Facebook. And subscribe at Apple Podcasts. Bonzi's on the phone. What's on your mind?
You were talking yesterday about Stormy Daniels and whether she's all real and all that, you know?
Stormy Daniels, yeah. She's claiming that she had a liaison with Donald Trump, and he says that never happened.
That's right. I mean, who are you going to believe? The fake blonde with the big boobs or Stormy Daniels?
Get off!
Bob's Breakfast.